Oh my God.
Part 2 of Full Court Press Basketball Debate. Chris Guyek here with Yvonne Juno. Now that we've talked about all of the Game 1s, we're going to get our thoughts on the series. And while we're doing this, we're going to fill out the first round of our brackets. Okay? I've had a good history with brackets this year so far, picking Duke in the championship in college. So I'm hoping that it transfers over to the pros. But before we make our picks and write them down in our brackets, we're going to talk about each series a little more in depth. But Toronto, Washington, since we just left that topic, we're going to come back to it. Tell me, in this series, who you believe, Yvonne, is the key player.
I hate when you do this to me.
No, but you can do it better in the playoffs than you can in a regular season. It's easier.
I know.
But it's all about an opinion. Tell me who you think the key player in this series has to be for Toronto and why.
I'm not sure. Not sure. I can tell you Washington. It's got to be Paul Pierce.
It is.
Okay? It's got to be Paul Pierce. Toronto,
For Toronto, I'm going to have to say Kyle Lowry.
that's what I was thinking too.
Point guard, leader,
Yeah.
has to step up, and did in Game 1.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah.
It just wasn't enough.
Well, if he doesn't come through.
You got DeMar DeRozan. You got
Yeah, but if your
Valanciunas.
point guard doesn't
Lowry.
show up.
Lowry provides something different.
Right.
Okay. Now, for your bracket. Who you got? How many games? And why?
Oh, that's how you want to do it?
That's how we're doing it.
Oh boy. And I've got Paul for Washington.
What team you got? In how many games? And why? Toronto or Washington?
Honestly, it could go either way, but I'm picking Washington.
Okay. In?
I wish you would have asked me this after game 2. Kind of hard to tell after only one game, but it was an away game. And if they can do this away,
That's correct.
now they play game 1 and 2
In Toronto.
in Toronto.
3 and 4 will be in
3
Washington.
and 4 in Washington.
5 in Toronto. 6 in Washington. 7 in Toronto.
Okay.
Home court advantage goes to the higher
I don't
seed.
think it's going to go to 7.
I don't either.
I don't think it's going to go to 7. I'm going to say Washington. It's not going to be a sweep for sure.
Absolutely not.
I'm saying Washington either 5 or 6.
I've got Washington in 6.
Yeah.
I have to respect Toronto's greatness. Toronto is going to win. And I could almost even say this is going to go 7 games. Because this was the tightest game.
You're picking Toronto?
I've got Washington in 7. I mean, Washington in 6.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
This was the tightest game of Game 1s.
Yeah.
This was the tightest one. It went to overtime.
Yeah.
So, that tells me right there, these two teams are the most evenly matched.
Yeah.
And I knew that before this series even started. That these two teams are the most evenly matched. So this one is probably going to go to 7, honestly. But I think Washington closes it out. I can see it going to 7.
It could, sure.
But I'm going to say Washington in 6, and that's what I've got on my bracket.
Yeah, and I think we'll have a better idea after game 2.
Washington in 6. Washington in 6.
Oh.
That is my pick. And I move them on to the quarters, or to the semis.
Oh, that's how you're doing it?
That's how I'm doing it, series by series.
So I'll put Washington here?
Yep, and then how many games you put in between the...
I don't put it off to the side right here?
Mm-mm.
Wait. I put it where?
In between the two teams, like we did last year. Paul Pierce just has a history of upsetting Toronto, and I just think Washington's the better team. I've got Washington in 6. I gotta give Washington more. I'm sorry. I gotta give.
Toronto more. Yeah.
I gotta give them more than one
Me
game.
too.
I got Washington in 6.
Me too. Okay.
Let's move on to Chicago and Milwaukee. Interesting series. Who is the key player in this series for Chicago?
The Wolves.
And
Derrick
why?
Rose. Derrick Rose. He proved that last night.
I'm going to say Jimmy Butler.
Really?
Because Rose gets it done on the offensive end, but sometimes he's a liability on the defensive end.
Now, if he gets injured, they're
Jimmy
in trouble.
Butler is the X factor in this series because Milwaukee plays up-tempo basketball. They play fast.
Yeah.
They run. And Jimmy Butler does too. He's in the
Yeah.
best physical condition on the team. Jimmy Butler's a key player for Chicago to me. How about Milwaukee?
I don't know. I don't know who I would say is the key player.
I got to say Michael Carter Williams.
Do you
Big sta-
really?
Big stage. He had a good game 1. He hit some
But
big
he's not
shots.
consistent, bud.
That's why I'm saying that. He's got to be consistent in order for them to have a chance to win this series. He's got to be.
Who's their big man?
Oh, they have multiple. Wow, Zaza Pachulia,
No, who was the leading scorer for them last night?
Carter Williams.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, without your point guard, you're nothing.
I think Carter Williams is the main factor for Milwaukee in this series. Now, who you got in how many games and why?
Oh, Chicago. And it's either going to be a sweep or it's going to be 5. It's either going to be a sweep or it's going to be 5.
A lot of people are picking Chicago to sweep this series.
Yeah,
And a lot of people are picking Atlanta to sweep Brooklyn as well.
yeah.
I'm going to say Chicago in 5.
Well, then we're thinking along the same
I'm
lines.
going to give Milwaukee a game. I think they have a good chance to win game 2. I think they're going to come out fired up. That's tonight, by the way. It's going to be
You know
interesting.
what? You and I are going to disagree on that one. I'm going to say sweep.
Interesting.
I'll know after tonight. So where do I put that?
Where Chicago and Milwaukee are. Sticking in the East.
So I'm going to say Chicago. And I'm going to say 4. Okay. I'm out on a limb on that one.
Atlanta and Brooklyn.
Okay.
The key player for Atlanta in this series has to be whom and why.
It has to be Dirk.
Atlanta.
No. I mean, help me.
Corver? Horford, Teague, Millsap. Thinking Atlanta here.
Oh, I'm thinking about Dallas.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
why. Oh, God. It's got to be Corver.
Think it's Corver?
Yeah. It's got to be. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pick their most consistent player all year long. And that's Paul Millsap. He's hard to deal
Oh,
with.
no.
He's hard to deal with.
Baby, he does not have the drive and the veracity that Corver has.
Maybe not.
But
he's
that's what they need in the playoff. I'm saying Corver.
How about Brooklyn? Key player for Brooklyn in this series.
It's got to be Lopez.
You think it's Lopez?
Yeah.
I'm saying Joe Johnson. The
Oh.
experience, been there, done that. The Paul Pierce-esque experience that Johnson has in the playoffs.
And
Now,
I
Brooke
hear
Lopez
you.
has to put up the biggest numbers.
Okay. But that's what wins a game.
Yeah, but the experience of Johnson, it goes a long way. Now, who you got in how many games?
Oh, well, I've got Atlanta. But based on what if you would have asked me last week, I would have said Atlanta sweep. But with the way Brooklyn played last night, I'm going to say that Brooklyn will probably win one game, maybe two when they get in there. So I'm not saying 4.
I'm not either.
Okay? But it's not going to go to 6 or 7.
7, definitely not.
No. I'm saying Atlanta and 5.
That's exactly what I've got.
Okay. I'm
5
saying
with a
Atlanta
very
at
possible
5.
6th.
Yeah, it's possible. If they play like they played last night. They played last night. So
you've got Atlanta in 5. So do I.
Okay.
Cleveland and Boston. Here's where it gets good.
Yeah. This is where it gets...
The key player for Cleveland in this series needs to be whom and why?
Well, there's 2 key players.
Honest to God, there's 3.
Yeah. I mean, you got to say LeBron. But Kyrie Irving...
That boy is...
I mean, it was the Kyrie Irving show. The key player based on what? You see what I'm saying?
Who has to be the best player in this series?
Well, then it's got to be LeBron.
It's LeBron in every series that Cleveland plays.
There you go. Then it's got to be LeBron.
If LeBron's on the court, LeBron has to be the best
Who's going to be the most fun to watch? Kyrie Irving.
Right now. But deeper into the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Now, who's got to be the key player for Boston? And why?
Well, that's got to be Rondo.
Rondo didn't play for Boston.
I mean, why am I doing this?
I don't know.
Wow.
Because you're used to seeing Boston in the playoffs with number 9.
Yes.
But I know who you're thinking of.
Who am I thinking of?
Isaiah Thomas.
Yes.
Because he is the key player for
Yes.
Boston. He played a fantastic game 1. Coming off the bench, I think he should start, but that's just me.
Yes.
But I like Isaiah coming off the bench. Now, who you got in how many games and why?
That's a tough one, but I think it's going to be Cleveland.
Oh, it's going to be Cleveland.
Yeah.
The question is not who it's going to be. It's in how many. That's the tough part for me.
Right.
Because I'm inclined to say Cleveland will sweep this series because of the experience of LeBron and because of the way Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love both showed up in game 1.
Yeah.
But I also have to respect the fact that Boston beat Cleveland twice in the regular season. One occasion on back-to-back nights.
Right.
Once in Cleveland, once at home. I have to respect that.
Yeah.
Therefore, I am picking Cleveland in 5. With a possible sweep. I don't see it getting past 5. The skill level is... I don't.
I'll agree with you. I was going to say sweep.
I'm inclined to say sweep, but I have to respect Boston's past against Cleveland this season. I have to. Even with LeBron, Kyrie, and Love on the floor, they beat them in Cleveland. I have to respect that. I have to respect that. It's either going to be 4 or 5. I'm going safe side. I'm picking 5.
I'm saying sweep.
Wow. Next series.
Okay?
Probably the toughest one
Yeah.
to pick.
Yeah.
Houston and Dallas. The key player for Houston in this series, Yvonne, has to be whom and why?
It has to be Harden.
It has to be.
It has to be.
I agree.
It has to be.
The scoring ability.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm writing down.
The
Scoring.
The mismatch. The matchup
Right.
nightmare that he presents.
Right.
He's James Harden.
Right.
What more do you want? Now, how about for Dallas? And I think you and I are going to differ on this one.
Are you going to say Dirk?
I am not. I am not.
Who are you going to say?
Rondo. Because of the absence of Patrick Beverly for Houston. They don't have a true point guard. They are running Jason Terry. Now, there's nothing wrong with Jason Terry.
I was about to say Jason Terry.
But Jason Terry is more of a shooting guard
Right.
than a point guard. And the age difference, the speed difference, the length of Rondo. And Rondo played a good game one. He did. He played a Rondo-esque game one.
I'm saying Dirk.
I think Rondo needs to step up big time in this series. Now,
I think it's Dirk because it's his last season. He's retiring after this. He wants to go out on a good note. When he feels like he's getting too tired or he wants to sit down or whatever, that's going to be the incentive that's going to drive him on.
dark horse key, I agree. Dark horse key player in this series, two of them. With Dallas, watch out for Monte Ellis.
Uh-huh.
And for Houston, Trevor Ariza.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah.
He can explode.
Yeah.
Now, who you got in how many games and why?
Houston.
In. You say that very confidently.
Houston.
Dallas's playoff experience. I think it's Houston too, but I'm not as confident as you seem to be.
Houston. But I didn't say it was going to be a cakewalk. This could go 7
I
easily.
have it in 7.
Yeah. This could go 7
Because in
easily.
in this series, there is no such thing as home court. Both teams play in Texas. So there is a pretty even amount of Dallas fans at a Houston game. There's a pretty even amount of Houston game.
Now they
Houston
play in
fans.
the same arena?
No. One's in Houston, one's in Dallas. But
Okay, the first two,
Houston will have home court in the first two.
okay?
Dallas will have 3 and 4. Houston will have 5. Dallas will have 6. Houston will have 7.
Houston.
And that's where it ends.
Houston. But it'll take 7 games.
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah. So, I've got Houston in 7.
Portland and Memphis.
Wait a minute, I need to write that down.
Oh,
Houston. In 7.
I'm also going to print out a bracket
Mm-hmm.
of what actually happened, so we can compare it after the playoffs.
Last year I just scratched through and wrote above.
Well,
but that's
I'm
fine.
gonna do one.
All right.
Portland and Memphis. Now this series is
You're
weird.
Killing me on picking key players.
Now
for
this
some
is
of these
now wait.
teams.
This is weird because remember, Portland is the better seed, but they do not have home court because Memphis has the better record. But Portland had the best record in their division. That's why they're a higher seed. But they do not have home court. Memphis has home court.
Aldridge.
For Portland, it has to be LaMarcus Aldridge. It has to be.
Yeah.
Against those two big guys inside, he has no choice but to step up.
Well, it's him or Lillard, but
It's Aldridge.
right? But Aldridge has more of a challenge in front of him because of the big guys.
Now, how about Memphis?
Ooh. Who's your key player for Memphis? See, it's not that easy.
Mike Conley. Dark horse.
Really?
because Conley is one of the few point guards that gets it done well on both ends of the floor. We know how good Damian Lillard is on offense, but he's somewhat of a liability defensively. Conley is very good on both ends, and remember, he's in charge of getting the ball to Randolph and Gasol down low.
Well, I was going to say Gasol.
It could be any of them.
Or it could be Zach in the middle.
It could be Tony Allen.
Yeah, but you got that big mountain right in the middle of the court.
But the ball has to get there for them to be effective. That's why I picked Conley. And you got to shut down Damian Lillard. Hello. For me, it's either Conley or Randolph.
I'm going to say Randolph.
I'm going to say Conley.
I'm going to say Randolph.
Now, the hard part. Who you got? In how many games? And why? This series is very hard to pick.
Yep. They started off in
Memphis.
In Memphis, so that's 2 in Memphis, 2 in Portland.
Then 1-1-1.
Memphis.
Portland, Memphis.
Portland, Memphis. If Memphis could play like they played last night, but their inconsistency during the regular season is really bothering me. Because they showed up for about 85 to 90% of their games, but the 10% they didn't show up for, they really didn't show up. You follow me?
Yeah.
So that kind of has me worried. It's not going to be a sweep no matter what.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay? Could I see this going to 7? I could.
Oh, yeah.
I could see this going to 7.
No doubt.
And with the last game being in Memphis,
It's a very probable 7-game series. Very. Very. I wouldn't blame anybody for picking them in 7.
it could go either way. If it wasn't for Aldridge, I would say Memphis without a shadow of a doubt. But Aldridge is something.
And Lillard can just explode at any time.
I know that.
And Portland's bench is great.
Yep.
And they are very well coached.
Yeah. I don't know. And I don't know what the polls are leaning towards. I don't know. This is a tough one for me. This is a tough one for me. I'm going to go with my gut on this one. I'm going to say Memphis.
In.
It's either got to be 5 or 7.
You got more likelihood of it going to 7 than 5.
Yeah,
That I will tell you.
yeah. Of course, they could win just as easily in Portland. Memphis could win in Portland.
They could.
I don't see
Portland
this.
could win in Memphis.
That's true. I got Memphis as my pick.
Okay.
I just don't know how much.
I've got an oddball pick here.
Okay?
I've got Memphis, but I have the series ending in Portland. I got Memphis in 6.
Yeah, I thought about that.
I've got Memphis in 6.
Yeah,
Game 1 showed me something.
yeah.
It was very telling that Memphis turns a switch in the playoffs. It was very evident. It showed up. And
Yeah, like I said, if they could show up for every game.
I love Lillard and I love Aldridge, but that's not enough to carry you through Memphis. It's not. You need a team to carry you through Memphis. Aldridge can't score 34 a night and have other players not step up and expect to win a 7-game
I
series
agree.
against the Memphis Grizzlies. Not going to happen. I've got Memphis in 6.
I've got Memphis in 5.
Wow! Portland 1 game?
I got Memphis in 5. I may be wrong.
Man.
We'll see.
Okay. Here's the one we don't want to pick.
Oh, God.
Golden State and New Orleans. The key player for Golden State in this series has got to be whom and why.
Curry.
Okay, that's evident. How about for New Orleans? Again,
Anthony
pretty
Davis.
evident. Now, who you got in how many
That
games?
was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty easy. Who you got?
Although I'd like to give my Eric Gordon guy some credit. He did well.
He did okay. He went
Yeah.
5 of 14. He could have done a lot better than that.
Yeah, I know.
Who you got in how many games and why?
I got Golden State. My heart wants to pick New Orleans, but
Without
my
doubt.
brain says it's not going to happen.
They're too young.
I know. So I've got
Give 'em-
Golden State.
Give this team 2 years.
Yeah. Even next year will make a big difference.
Just wait.
Depending on how many people they lose.
Just wait. New Orleans is coming.
Okay. I've got Golden State. But I don't see a sweep. I think New Orleans can get a win or two.
Yeah.
Okay? In New Orleans, we play so much better at home.
But we played a fantastic road game in game 1.
Yeah, we did.
And keep in mind, we beat Golden State in the regular season.
Yes, I know that too.
There are some folks out there that are actually picking this thing to go to 7.
7?
Because of how good New Orleans is at home.
Yeah.
But they're too young.
I don't know if I should say 5 or 6.
This kills me, but I've got Golden State in 5. It kills me.
I was going to say Golden State in neither 5 or 6.
It kills me. But
Well, tonight will be a very big telling
it
factor.
is a huge game.
Yep.
It is a huge game.
Yeah, because after tonight we go back home.
Yep.
We have a better chance of winning.
I've-
It also makes a very big difference if Drew and Evans don't get to play. Or if they're playing injured and injured themselves more. I'm reluctant to put anything down.
I'm picking Golden State in 5.
Me too. That
Okay.
kills me.
It does.
That kills
It
me.
absolutely does.
Nothing would make me happier than to be wrong about that.
Now,
You saved the best for last.
the Los Angeles Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs. The key player for the Clippers, and think about this. Think about all routes before you give an answer.
Chris Paul.
Now you have to explain why. I don't disagree. In fact, I do agree. But I want to hear your reasoning for why.
Number 1, he's got experience. Number 2, he's been there. Number 3, he knows what he's doing. And if he plays with the ferociousness and that look that he played last night, there will be no stopping him.
You almost said it. I wanted you to say it so bad. I would have screamed if you would have said it.
What?
Why does Chris Paul have to be the best player for the Clippers in this series? Because he's the best damn player in the series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He showed it last night.
Yeah.
Chris Paul. Now, how about for the Spurs? Who's got to be the key player for the Spurs in this series?
Is that you?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Now, this is one you got to think about before you answer.
Yeah. Wow, because there's so many to pick from. Well, Tony Parker, but he's a little injured right now. You could say Tony Parker.
You could definitely say Tony Parker.
Okay.
You could definitely say Tim Duncan.
You could say Tim Duncan.
Definitely say Kawhi Leonard.
You could say Kawhi.
You could
Oh,
definitely-
you could definitely say
You
Kawhi
could
Leonard.
definitely say Manu Ginobili.
Right.
You could say Greg Popovich.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's
Or Doc
true.
Rivers.
Right. The key player for San Antonio.
In this series.
Leonard.
Think so?
He's hungry. He wants it.
Well, he's the Finals MVP. He's
Well-
the reigning Finals MVP.
Well, he wants it. You can tell he's got that look on his face. He wants it. He wants it. He wants it.
I'm gonna have to go with my man Tony Parker,
And
and I've got a logical explanation. And hear me out.
okay.
I am a Kawhi Leonard lover. Okay? But here's why I gotta go Tony Parker. He was horrible in the first half last night.
Yep.
And
He's
about
also hurt, Ben.
and about 9 minutes, with about 9 minutes to play in the third quarter, he caught fire. You remember that?
Yeah.
When he hit like 4 shots in a row
Yeah.
and had that look about him, had that walk. San Antonio began to play a lot better when Tony Parker was hitting shots.
Well, baby, he's the leader.
He has got to match Chris Paul. And that is no easy task.
Nope.
But damn it, if there is one
Oh, just
guy
anybody who can do it.
that can do
Yeah.
it, if there is one point guard that
Yeah.
I would pick over Chris Paul, it would be Tony Parker.
They're both equally skilled. They both have the experience. They both have the drive.
Parker's got 4 rings.
They both have the determination. They both have the skill set, the basketball skill
The
set.
IQ.
Yeah, basketball IQ.
Tony Parker, he's a Finals MVP. He's got 4 rings, going for a 5th.
Yeah.
He's got to match Chris Paul. He
Yeah.
has to. We'll go back to the brackets in just a little bit to
Oh, wait.
fill them out completely.
You didn't want to pick who's going to win?
We will. That's what we're coming back to.
Oh. You don't, that's the only one you don't want to pick?
Oh, the series.
Yeah.
Shit. Forgot about that.
Ah.
Who you got in how many games and why? Now, we both said San Antonio was going to repeat. Are you
I know.
sticking by that after game
Yeah.
1?
Yeah,
You really think San Antonio is going to beat the Clippers after what you saw last night?
yeah. Unless Tony Parker's hurt.
He'll be fine. There's an article that came out today. He's fine.
Yeah, but
He said, I twisted my ankle. I'll be fine for game 2.
Yeah, but he would play hurt.
Tony Parker would play half dead. Tony
Right.
Parker would play bleeding out.
Right.
And Tim Duncan's 97. So
Yeah.
what's that got to do with the price of tea in China?
Every week he gains a year.
I love Tim, man. He was
Yeah.
good last night, too.
Yep. San Antonio,
In.
7.
It's going to end in Los Angeles.
Oh,
Clippers have home court. That's weird with the Spurs, isn't it?
yeah.
San Antonio's always got home court. Not this year. Not this year, thanks to the Pelicans.
Ooh,
San Antonio in 6.
yeah. They're going to win it at home.
They're going to win game 2
Yeah.
in Los Angeles.
Oh, after what happened, oh yeah,
They're
they're going
gonna
to
win game
game
2. They're going to win game 3 and game 4 to go up 3-1. Clippers will win game 5, and San Antonio will close it out in game 6.
I agree. I still got San Antonio.
Oh, so do I. So do I.
Now, it could go either way.
You know what? I want the Clippers to win.
I would
If
not
San
be
Antonio
upset.
doesn't win, I want the Clippers
That's
to win.
right.
That's why I hate the fact that they're playing each other this early.
I know.
Because one of them has to go.
I know. I agree.
On to a few headlines.
I was wondering why you weren't. That's the only one we weren't picking.
On to a few headlines. David Blatt says, quote, the playoffs can't all be on LeBron.
Okay.
Yvonne, there has been major conversation about this quote. You agree or disagree with this, and why?
Well, I don't know what he meant. Of course, it's not all on LeBron. One person can't be the whole team. But let's be perfectly honest. he's more than a 50% factor. I mean, it depends. I could argue either side.
I'm going to agree for the time being. And what I mean by that is this. Look at your bracket. Cleveland's got Boston right now.
Right.
Not a high pressure situation. I mean, it's the playoffs, but it's Boston. Look at their potential opponent next round. The Chicago Bulls.
Right. That's a totally different animal.
Now, the pressure is on LeBron.
Yeah. Yeah. I
In
agree.
a big time series, it is on LeBron. Because the Cleveland Cavaliers will go as far as LeBron James can carry them.
Yeah.
As good as Kyrie Irving is, he ain't going to do that against Chicago. It's
No.
not going to happen.
No.
The one person on their team that can do that against Chicago is LeBron James.
Right.
That's my thoughts on that quote. Lakers general manager Mitch Kupchak says the Lakers can get better quickly. Yvonne, do you agree or disagree with that, and why?
Why would he be saying that now? They can get better quickly. No, I disagree. The damage is done. What? I don't understand. I don't understand the quote, what it means, or why this late in the game somebody would be saying something like that.
They asked him what they're going to do, what he's going to do in the offseason. What are the plans for the offseason? Oh, we're going to do this,
in
this,
the
this.
off-season.
Yeah, and they can get better quickly.
Yeah, if Kobe comes back. That's my answer to that.
I'm going to...
Yeah, they can get better quickly if Kobe comes back.
I'm going to agree with this, but not just the Kobe factor. Let's remember the Lakers have 21 wins this year, which means they're going to have a high draft pick. That high draft pick
is
going
advantage.
to do wonders for them.
Yeah.
Let's also not forget that their number 9 overall pick in this past draft, Julius Randle, broke his leg 4 minutes into his career. He'll be back. Kobe's coming back. Yes.
Yeah.
They can get better.
They can get
Are they
better
going to have
quickly.
50 wins? No, probably not.
No.
But it's going to be better than 21.
Yeah.
That I can almost guarantee. Byron Scott will have this team ready to play next year. Believe that. Russell Westbrook says his scoring title, quote, means nothing. He won the scoring title. He and Kevin Durant became the first teammates to win back-to-back scoring titles. And when asked about it, he said it means nothing because I'm sitting at home watching other teams play.
He's right.
Yvonne, your thoughts?
He's right, and I think it's a shame, but...
But New Orleans did it.
Yeah, but somebody's got to lose. I think he should be proud of what he accomplished. I think that if he's feeling down or running himself down or being depressed, that he's not in the playoffs or whatever, he needs to look back at some footage and some tapes and see just for a while there, he was carrying the team. If it hadn't been for him, they would not have won all the wins that they did end up with. So if he's feeling down on himself, I feel sorry for him because he shouldn't be.
I completely disagree with this quote.
What do you mean?
There are 15 players on every NBA team in the league. There are 30 teams.
You disagree when he says it means nothing?
Yes, I do. Because out of thousands of possible players, you are the one guy that wins the scoring title.
Oh, so you
That's
I agree.
got
Yeah.
to mean something.
Yeah.
Now, in comparison to a playoff berth, of course it means nothing. Of course it does. When you're comparing the two, of course it doesn't.
Right.
But, dude, The season that the man just had.
I know.
28, 9, and 8 on 43%.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We haven't seen that since 1960. I mean, come on.
Is he still your pick for MVP?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. He's got my vote.
Well, because 3 of the guys sitting at the table for First Take said he's not theirs anymore.
No, he's not. Now we all know who's going to win it, and we all know why.
Yep.
And we can't make a case against it.
Nope.
Now, to end the April 20th edition, we're going to fill out the rest of our bracket.
I can't.
Sure you can.
No, I can't.
Because
I
these are
gotta
your
see
picks.
tonight's games.
No, these are your picks. You've already moved these on. We're picking here. This is what we
Okay.
believe is going to happen. Sure, we can do this.
I don't want to do that.
Why? We did it last year.
No, we didn't.
Yes. You fill out a bracket. That's how it works. We both have the same matchups.
Do we?
Uh-huh. Golden State and Memphis.
We just have different numbers.
You got Golden State and Memphis. San Antonio, Houston. Atlanta, Washington.
and
Chicago, Cleveland. Yeah.
We just have a different number for how many we think.
Right.
I can't do that till I see what.
No, that doesn't make any sense. You've already moved these teams on, so it's a whole new matchup.
Okay.
These are our picks.
We're not going to talk about tonight's 2 games?
Oh, we can a little bit. If you'd like.
Okay. Well, I've got Chicago winning tonight.
Well, no doubt. Chicago's going to win, and I think New Orleans pulls it out tonight.
I hope you're right.
They're 12.5-point underdogs, but I've got New
Do
Orleans.
they give lines for these
Yeah.
games?
Chicago's favored by 8.5. Golden State's favored by 12.5.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Okay.
let's start in the East.
no.
Let's start in the
He's
East.
killing me.
We both have Atlanta and Washington.
I'm going to have to keep writing like this.
Atlanta and Washington. Who are you picking? In how many games?
I hate this. For the second game, we're only going into the.
Yeah, because these are our predictions. These are not necessarily what's actually going to happen. You predict
Well,
this
they've
stuff.
only played 1 game.
Yeah, that.
We can't wait till they play 2 or 3 games.
But you already picked them to win the series.
Yeah.
So now it's a whole new series.
Yeah, but you're asking me to pick numbers.
So, Atlanta and Washington. Who you got in how many games?
I want to say Washington so bad, but I think it's going to be Atlanta. This could be a 7-gamer.
Oh yeah, it could. Oh yeah, it could.
Wow, you killing me. We didn't do this last year.
We do this every year.
To pick this far ahead?
Yes, you make your predictions.
Oh.
That's why you had to cross out all last year.
That's true. I was trying to get out of it. Atlanta,
In
7.
I completely agree. I've got Atlanta in 7 over Washington. Although it kills me to go against Paul Pierce in a
Me
game
too.
7.
Especially after last night.
Okay.
You know it could go the other way.
Okay.
Who's here?
Papa.
Okay.
Chicago and Cleveland. Who you got?
Oh.
In how many? Keep home court advantage in mind throughout all of this too. That's a 2-3 matchup. Cleveland will have home court. If this were to happen.
Cleveland.
You got Cleveland. In.
That could be a 7-2.
Could be.
Where's that last game going to be played?
Cleveland.
Yeah. Cleveland.
You got Cleveland in 7. Correct? Mark my words. You ready for this?
You got Chicago.
Chicago in 6.
Okay.
The experience of Pau Gasol and Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson and Joakim Noah will come through. And LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love will not carry that team against Chicago. The inexperience, the better defensive team is Chicago by far. Chicago in 6.
Okay.
To the west, Golden State and Memphis.
Golden State.
In.
Where's that last game going to be played?
Golden State.
Wow. 5.
What? Wow.
Or 6.
Wow.
Who do you have?
Golden State in 7.
I'm going to go 6.
Golden State in 7 is my pick. How
Okay.
about San Antonio and Houston?
San Antonio.
In.
Last game.
That will be played in Houston.
San Antonio in 6.
That's exactly what I have. So, your East Finals is Atlanta and Cleveland. Who you got in how many games?
Damn, that's hard. Do I put the East at the top or the bottom? Oh,
Your East winner goes up top. Your West winner goes bottom.
it's a lot easier. I don't know.
Atlanta and Cleveland. Atlanta does have home court. They are the 1 seed. Cleveland is the 2 seed.
Atlanta.
Over Cleveland. You got Atlanta in the finals.
I think so. I'm not sure. It's too early.
These are predictions. This is what you think is going to happen. It's never too early for that.
But I don't want to be wrong.
Predictions.
Hi, baby.
Dead air. Dead air.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's what the playoffs do to a brain.
Atlanta.
In. If you got Atlanta over Cleveland, you got to have it going in 7 games.
Yep. I do.
My final in the East is Atlanta and Chicago. And my pick to win the Eastern Conference and go to the NBA Finals to represent the East will be the Chicago Bulls in a total of 6 games over the Atlanta Hawks. Chicago will represent the East in the finals. Now, in the West, Golden State, San Antonio.
San Antonio.
In
Final game.
Golden State.
6.
That's exactly what I have. Now, that sets up your NBA Finals. Atlanta and San Antonio. Now, keep in mind with the finals, the NBA finals, the home court advantage works very differently. Games 1 and 2 are played, in your case, in Atlanta. Games 3, 4, and 5 will be played in San Antonio. And games 6 and 7 will be played in Atlanta. So it's 2-3-2.
San Antonio in 5.
I've got San Antonio in 6. I think it ends in Golden State. San Antonio's a very good road team. I think it ends in Golden State. 6 games, San Antonio.
I have it in 5. I got it?
Yeah.
Good. Well, we don't have to make any calls. Okay?
Fine.
Your
Hello?
finals.
Do I need
You're-
to go anywhere or can I go change?
No, we're ordering stuff, food, and they're gonna eat with us.
Your finals.
Maddie has to work till 5:45, so she should be here any minute.
I'm going to use the bathroom.
Go.
Atlanta and San Antonio with the 2-3-2 format. Who wins the championship?
I just told you.
San Antonio in... Oh, that was your San Antonio in 5?
Yeah,
Okay.
San Antonio in 5.
My finals are the Chicago Bulls and the San Antonio Spurs.
You are not gonna pick Chicago over San Antonio.
The 2015 NBA champions. In 6 games will be the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay. You giving them one more game than I did.
Yeah, but you got Atlanta, I've got Chicago.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay?
tonight's games. Chicago-Milwaukee game 2, which starts, I believe,
At 7 o'clock.
yeah, at 7.
And then New Orleans at Golden State at 9:30, both on TNT, which is channel 28.
That's correct. Yep, that's right on. 7 o'clock and 9:30. So be
Okay.
looking out for those. For Yvonne Juno, this is Chris Guyette. Thank you for tuning in to Full Court Press Basketball Debate. We'll be back in touch with y'all very soon.